The book, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie is a classic that contains fundamental principles for improving communication, building trustful relationships, and achieving success in both personal and professional life. Carnegie organized successful communication strategies so they can be applied in everyday situations. Let's go over the book's main principles, providing practical examples for each. Part 1. Fundamental Techniques for Dealing with People. Principle 1. Show genuine interest in others. Carnegie argues that to make friends and influence people, you must show sincere interest in those around you. People enjoy being the center of attention, and they appreciate those who take a genuine interest in their lives and achievements. To illustrate this principle, Carnegie shares an example from his own experience, where he earned the respect of an influential businessman simply by asking questions and listening with sincere interest, without being distracted by his own thoughts. Practical method. When meeting someone new, focus on their interests. Ask questions about their hobbies, achievements, and plans while truly listening. For example, if someone is talking about their work, ask about the challenges they've faced or the most enjoyable part of their job. Principle 2. Smile. Carnegie emphasizes that a simple smile can be the first step to creating a friendly atmosphere. Smiling makes the other person feel at ease and engenders positive feelings. As he says, a smile is not only a gesture of goodwill, but also a sign of self-confidence. Example. Carnegie shares an instance where he met someone who was skeptical. A simple smile at the beginning of the conversation helped create a warm atmosphere, and soon the person opened up. This example highlights the importance of a small, sincere gesture. Principle 3. Remember that a person's name is the sweetest sound. One of Carnegie's key pieces of advice is to remember the names of those you meet. A person's name is a symbol of their individuality and significance. By using someone's name in conversation, you convey respect and show interest in them. Example. Carnegie recounts how he secured an important agreement simply by remembering the names of all the team members and using them during the conversation. This method not only facilitated communication, but also helped him earn respect. Practical method. If you tend to forget names, try repeating the person's name immediately upon meeting and use it several times during the conversation. This will help reinforce your memory and show respect. Principle 4. Be a good listener and encourage others to talk about themselves. Carnegie notes that listening is one of the most important elements of communication. People often want to be heard, and they value those who can listen sincerely and attentively. Example. One of Carnegie's friends was an excellent conversationalist simply because he was always a good listener. People often shared personal stories with him, feeling his support and interest. This approach strengthened friendships and built trust. Principle 5. Talk about what interests the other person. To create a closer connection, it's important to focus on the interests of the other person. This helps in building deeper and more genuine relationships. Example. Carnegie recalls an instance when he needed to connect with someone who had no interest in his hobbies or field. Instead of talking about himself, Carnegie began discussing the other person's interests, and soon they established mutual understanding. Practical method. Before a meeting, try to find out the other person's interests. If they are interested in sports, literature, or music, find topics that could serve as a common ground for discussion. Principle 6. Make the other person feel important. And do it sincerely. Carnegie emphasizes that everyone wants to feel significant. A sincere compliment or recognition of achievements can play an important role in communication and help to build trust. Example. In his book, Carnegie shares a story of complimenting a waiter on excellent service. This immediately lifted the waiter's spirits and made the interaction more pleasant. Practical method. During conversations, find positive traits in the person and acknowledge them. For example, if you admire someone's approach to solving a problem, let them know, showing your appreciation. Part 2. Ways to influence others to think the way you do. 1. The only way to get the best of an argument is to avoid it. Carnegie believes that winning an argument brings only short-term satisfaction and often damages relationships in the long run. It is far more important to avoid confrontation and strive for mutual understanding. Example: when Carnegie encountered someone with an opposing viewpoint, he chose not to argue but to listen to their perspective. This helped avoid tension and preserve their working relationship. 2. Show respect for the other person's opinions. Never say, "You're wrong." Carnegie advises avoiding direct criticism or disagreement. Instead, one can express their opinion gently while respecting the other person's viewpoint. Example: if you dislike a colleague's suggestion, instead of saying, "That's wrong," you could say, "That's an interesting approach, though I see it a bit differently." This allows you to voice your opinion without triggering a defensive reaction. 3. If you're wrong, admit it quickly and emphatically. Carnegie argues that acknowledging your mistakes helps to not only preserve but strengthen trust. People appreciate those who can admit their shortcomings. Example: once, Carnegie made a mistake in his work, and instead of making excuses, he immediately admitted his fault to his colleagues. This earned their respect and even increased their support. Part 3. How to win people to your way of thinking. 1. Start with praise and honest appreciation. Any criticism is better received when it begins with a compliment. This reduces resistance and makes feedback easier to accept. Example: when Carnegie was dissatisfied with his assistant's work, he first praised his efforts, then pointed out what could be improved. The assistant responded positively and soon corrected his mistakes. 2. Indirectly, point out mistakes. Direct criticism often leads to defensiveness, so Carnegie suggests subtly addressing errors, highlighting opportunities for improvement. Example: instead of saying, "You did this report wrong," you could say, "Let's see how we can improve this section together." This helps avoid tension and makes the process more constructive. 3. Ask questions instead of giving orders. When you ask questions rather than give orders, you show respect for the other person's opinion and professionalism. People are more willing to complete tasks when they feel valued. Example: Carnegie advises saying, "What do you think could be improved here?" instead of directly ordering a correction. 4. Praise every improvement and be lavish in your praise. Support and encouragement, even for small achievements, boost motivation. Carnegie is convinced that regular praise helps people reach higher results. Example: one of Carnegie's employees struggled with a new skill. Carnegie noted each achievement, no matter how small, which helped the employee build confidence. Part 4. How to be a leader and influence people without offense. 1. Begin with praise and sincere appreciation. Always start with a compliment. This can reduce resistance and make suggestions easier to accept. Example: before pointing out an assistant's mistake, Carnegie praised his efforts, which put the assistant in a positive frame of mind and helped him receive feedback constructively. 2. Let the other person save face. Maintaining the person's dignity, even when pointing out mistakes, is essential for long-term relationships. Carnegie emphasizes the importance of this aspect. Example: instead of criticizing in public, Carnegie preferred to speak to the person privately, helping them realize their mistake without humiliation. Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People teaches readers to understand others, build relationships, and develop leadership qualities. Carnegie shows that genuine interest in others, friendliness, and respect play a significant role in achieving success. His practical advice is based on a humane and respectful approach to people, making them universally applicable in any time or situation.
New audiobooks on our channel every week for free. Subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss out.